What is orbiting and why does it impact you? Oh, we've all been there. We have all been orbited and it is nonsense. So what is it? They ghosted you? Okay. You haven't heard from this person in weeks, but they still watch every one of your stories like they're a fucking fan. And it's not that it's harmless, and it's not. It's orbiting. And it's not just annoying, it's manipulative, even if it's unconscious. And it can be really, really fucking frustrating. And so we're going to talk about here what is orbiting. Let's talk about the breakdown, why it triggers your anxiety, and what it says about them and you, plus how to stop letting it hijack your nervous system. So orbiting is when someone has exited direct communication with you. So maybe they ghosted, maybe they fizzled, maybe they pulled back, but they still keep tabs on you online. So they might watch your stories, they'll like old posts, or viewing your fucking LinkedIn, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, all that bullshit, but they're not engaging with you. They're hovering, hence the terminology of orbiting. It's frustrating. It's annoying. But it's how I kind of look at it is like, it's like a digital ghosting with a side of ego maintenance. And I've seen this. I used to have guys that, especially they would do like, you'd go on a date. Maybe you would never hear from this person again. Maybe you would, right? But typically speaking, it was, they just kind of exited stage left, but they watch your stories. They flame your fucking emoji. They let you know how great you're looking. They're doing things that are low effort. And where it comes into orbiting, and a lot of the times they might not even interact with you. I still have guys that orbit around. They watch all my shit. They interact with everything, but we don't actually directly communicate with each other. And oftentimes that can also look like maybe they kind of like leave those little breadcrumbs, right? So it's like they might, again, watch all your shit, but they're not interacting. Maybe they might text you and say like, hey, you looked great in that video. Again, they're kind of orbiting around you, but they're not actually landing the plane. They're not making any progress. They're not pushing this connection into any space. So let's talk about why they do it and kind of this physiology and psychology of the nervous system. So oftentimes avoidants do this to feel connected without having the connection. And for a lot of people, that can feel really overwhelming. They'll orbit because it's safer. Their nervous system feels safer. They don't feel as dysregulated. They feel like they have the access to you without actually having the access to you. And so they're able to just kind of keep a low profile, which is why a lot of avoidants will do that. And for many, it truly is subconscious. They don't want intimacy. And that's the thing is like intimacy for a lot of people with avoidant attachment is really fucking scary. But they don't also want to lose access to you. I have had that where I remember going on a date with this guy and like he orbited me for years. He constantly was like always around my stuff, always engaging in polls, always liking my shit, always watching my stories, but he wasn't actually he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't showing up in any way, especially when someone ghosts you, right? I hear this all the time of like, I don't get it. They ghosted me. I never fucking heard from this person again. Why are they watching all my shit? And really why it's like orbiting allows them to feel less guilty, but it allows them to still stay in control or to make sure that you haven't moved too fucking far. Because they still want to have tabs on you. That's why a lot of people will still orbit you. It doesn't matter the sex, the gender. I don't really care. Guys, just some quick housekeeping. If you want more, I have a podcast called The Sabrina Zohar Show right here on YouTube. Go check it out and listen. Leave a rating, review, comment, whatever you guys want. And I have courses. I have the foundation course, which really, really helps to understand these different aspects and show up differently for yourself as yourself. So wanted to let you know that's all in the link in bio. If show notes, whatever the fuck it is. If you need more, sabrinazohar.com. Okay, so let's talk more about the little bit of the avoidance. So the avoidance shame or the kind of FOMO is they fear intimacy and they regret that, but they still don't want to feel like they're missing out. And for you, right, like what does that do for you? It triggers the salience network. So the salience network is part of your brain, and that's your brain flags it as ambiguous, thus it means it's dangerous. And the salience network is responsible. So if I told you right now, go outside and look for a red car, the salience network is going to find things that look like what you're looking for. So that's why when somebody like orbits, pulls away, like you all of a sudden you're like, you're in my stratosphere, but you're not actually making contact. It can mimic a low level threat response. So that's why you'll be vigilant. That's why you'll ruminate. That's why you're obsessing, but you're not obsessing because you're broken. That's not what this is. You're obsessing because your brain thinks it needs to resolve the lack of closure. And that's what makes it so hard when somebody starts to orbit, especially when you had a really nice connection, when you thought things were going really well, when you are trusting that this person's going to show up or be there. And like I said, sometimes it can happen when you've had more than one date. Sometimes it happens when, like, we all know those connections where you start following each other. Maybe you've never even met, but you guys are just constantly, they're keeping tabs. That's often when we see it. And again, it can be really fucking annoying and frustrating. You can block people. Feel free. right? So let's give you some examples. Some of them we've already gone over, right? Is like you haven't spoken in weeks, but they're always the first to view your story. And again, we have to look at that and say, don't give that importance though. I hear this all the time of like, we broke up or I haven't seen them or whatever, but they're always watching my stories. And it's like, well, if they follow you, that's not that shocking. Following, because especially if they've interacted with your content, then it's going to be pushed out by the algorithm that you're the first person, right? You come up and you show. If they're not following you, that's weird, right? That I think is weird. Perhaps you posted something about like healing, you posted a story and they liked it, but they don't say anything, right? They're in your sphere. They understand it. I've seen this. I know. We post a fucking thirst trap or a like, I'm healing, I'm evolving and growing. And then you see that they liked it and you're like, God damn it, but you didn't fucking reach out. And maybe you made a clean break, but they still watch you on all of on like, especially on alternative accounts, right? So like I have had that where I'm like, who the fuck is this? And you're like, oh my God, that's like this person I dated. And especially they won't commit, they won't talk, but they linger. And that's the frustrating part of it. Is sometimes you're like, God damn it, right? It's like dating a fucking ghost who won't leave your goddamn house, but is there in your fucking phone all the goddamn time. And again, I understand how anxiety inducing this could be and how shitty it feels, right? Especially when you think you have a nice connection with somebody. But one thing I want to say is anybody that's going to orbit you, you get to control what they're allowed to orbit. And so what does it actually do though? Like why it feels messy is because it keeps you in low grade alert. So it's also confusing your perception of reality. Like if they didn't care, why are they watching? If I didn't mean anything to them, then why are they keeping tabs? But that's also where I would say, interesting how we can challenge our narrative. We might go towards, they don't give a shit about me, they don't care, they don't do anything. Well, this might show the contrary. It might show that you might have meant a lot to them. They couldn't show up in the ways that they need. That's why when I hear you deserve better, it's like, yeah, they're not wrong. You do. And what they're saying when they say you deserve better is the translation there is I'm not going to show up as the person that you need me to be. Doing the work is involved is not something that I'm going to do. And it also makes closure a lot harder. Their presence keeps you hoping, keeps you doubting, keeps you checking. And for anxious attachers, it's a trapdoor to rumination, self-blame, and scanning. And so we have to reframe it. They're not watching because they miss you, and we need to stop with that narrative. They're watching because it's easy. Staying visible without being responsible is free emotional fucking access. And this is also what I mean by like, let's stop romanticizing the bare minimum. Let's stop making it as if like when you guys write in of like, they watch my stories all the time. It's like, great, where are they? Where are they? Because a phantom that just watches your stories doesn't actually, when you need it, when you're crying on the side of the fucking street, when you just found out somebody passed away, when you just lost everything, where are they? Because watching my fucking stories isn't comforting me when I need it. So let's talk about some tools and some boundaries that you can start to implement. And again, going to make this plug again. If you guys want more, listen to the podcast or join the foundation course. It's going to teach you all the shit you fucking need. Or if you want to work with me, I'm here in whatever capacity you guys want. I'm just appreciative you guys are listening. So the first thing is a nervous system reset. So it's something called name it to claim it, name it to tame it, depending on who you're talking to. So I want you to name it. This is orbiting. It's not intimacy. It's avoidance. This is not romance. This is somebody's low effort bullshit. I deserve better. Then I want you to use the somatic cue. I want you to feel into the urge to check who's watching you, and I want you to interrupt the loop. I trust me. I've dated. I know. I've dated in New York, LA, Miami. I know. And the reason I'm saying that is like, I didn't live under a fucking rock dating in Kansas. I know how that dopamine fuel when you look, especially when you look to see if they watch your stories and they haven't, and you're like, oh my God, this could be it. This could be it. This could be it. And then days go by and you're like, oh no, they never reached out and they did watch it. Cool. Got it. That's why it feels. And it's like, we have to just be clear. This is low effort. This is not anything. This is bullshit. And what I deserve is better than this. The second thing is, you need to just set boundaries, and it doesn't need to be dramatic. You don't need to block right away if that doesn't feel safe. Like you can mute this person, you can create distance. And it's about understanding, like, again, I'm not saying like never speak to this person again and wish their death. It's like, no, we don't have, the pendulum doesn't have to swing. You can just look and say, this doesn't work for me. And then I want you to ask, like, does their passive visibility help or harm my peace? Is this actually helping me? And if you want to call it out, which you absolutely can even say like, hey, I've noticed you're still pretty active in my space, but not engaging, and it's really confusing. So I'm going to set a boundary to protect my clarity. This is not something I want to continue to engage in, and I wish you all the best. If you want to block, like I said, you can block, you can mute, you could do whatever you feel you need that's not going to trigger you consistently in the same way, because that is you having a choice. That is you taking control. Orbiting thrives in your silence and your self-doubt because it keeps you in fucking limbo. But you don't need to match their avoidance with more avoidance. You get to respond with clarity. And that's the beautiful thing. You do have a choice. You are able to make choices and decisions for yourself. You don't have to just take what you're getting. You don't have to get to take what you're given. Guys, if this hit and you're tired of fucking chasing closure or feeling hooked by people who won't fully show up but won't fully leave, then this is exactly the kind of nervous system work that we break down in the foundation course, where you can really get out of limbo and you can follow your fucking heart and meet the person that is for you. And this foundation course sets that up for you, and it includes free group coaching every single month if you join, no matter what. So guys, thank you again for listening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Check out the podcast, rate, review, subscribe, follow along, and I'll see you next time, babes.